Do you know there's nothing happening, Peter?
No. It's amazing. It's amazing. Guys, this computer of mine has got a life all of its own. I don't have to press any buttons and it just does it now. I'm that used to it. So what a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. It's amazing. And from now on, we are one. And what a lovely concept that is. So yeah, welcome to the live LUF Lounge. My name's Pete Yarwood, and have we got a packed lineup of guests for you tonight. So just kicking right off with Willie. Let's have a hello from Willie.
Hello, it's Willie again. I'm doing my words of wisdom once again.
Some words of wisdom coming in later on from our very own Willie. And just on that, I want to say you'll be able to buy his book very, very soon. We're just about to hit the button on the website. And then we've got Thomas Riley.
Yes, yes. What are you saying, Yarwood?
Hello, mate. Welcome to the live LUF Lounge.
Thank you very much, mate. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Good man. And Thomas Woodcock, Mr. Old School Tommy Woodcock. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not bad, Pete. Nice to be here. Good to see you.
I think, you know, and welcome to the live LUF Lounge. I think.
Thank you very much. It's only second visit.
Yeah, I've not seen you for a while, Tom, have we? So.
Oh yeah, you see a bit more of me. I think in
used
future.
to be a regular feature in the Lancashire User Forum.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to be back, and I've got a bit more involved in Red Rose, so that means I'm going to connect more with Lancashire User Forum, which is still going strong. You know, pandemic or no pandemic.
Welcome. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then we've got Stephen Bennett, also known as Benny. Hiya, Benny. Welcome to the LUF Lounge.
Are you right, Peter?
You all right?
Yeah, not so well, thank you.
Zooming in all the way from Burnley.
Yeah.
Just give us a wave.
Are you doing all right?
Let me count the fingers. Yeah, there's definitely 5 on that hand. We'll get into some great conversations. You're going to tell us your story, aren't you, Benny?
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Enjoy the evening.
Will do, yeah.
And we have got our very own Lindsay Jackson. Say hello, Lindsay.
Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. Thank you for coming out of the sunshine, if it's sunshiny where you and watching us. Unless you're a LUF virgin, you'll probably know my face. I've been doing this for the last year. I'm Lindsay Jackson, lead volunteer in the North for Red Rose Recovery, an advocate of the User Forum. Please like and share lovely people. And can I just quickly say, just blast a few names, because there's some people here I know for a fact, 'cause I watch it every week. If I'm not on it, I'm watching it. And there's these people week in, week out, log on, and I know these names off by heart. I know which people are going to log on, and we do like new people as well. But just a quick: Shazza Pritchard, Dan Littlechild, Joe Duffield, Jonathan Chapman, Emily Chris Rowlands, Stuart Watson, Joe Clayton, Alex McLaughlin. Oh, they're all popping up now because I'm shouting names out. Oh, Shazza Pritchard, Lindsay, you are brilliant. How lovely. In our lovely Glen Island. So yes, wonderful. I'm here just in case if you are a LUF virgin, you don't know why I'm here. I'm here for community engagement. I will be doing shout outs, comments. So if you want to ask a question, if you want just me to shout hello, just put something in the comment and I will do my best to fit you in.
Brilliant.
Right.
Nice one. Thanks, Lindsay. Your confidence is just going through the roof. You're getting really, really good at this. So good on you. And we have got our very own Lancashire County Council Commissioner for Public Health, Lee Harrington. Welcome to the live LUF Lounge, Lee.
Thanks for having us, Pete. Hello, everyone.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And what a brilliant...
It's my first time as well on the LUF Lounge.
Well, welcome. I hope you enjoy the experience. No
could have
doubt you
dressed
know
up,
all
Lee.
about it.
Sorry, Tom.
So you could have dressed up a bit.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry. I'll put a dinky bow on next time.
Should be wearing a
It's
tie.
going to be one of them evenings, isn't it?
I hope
Tonight's
so.
value, guys, is transformation. As I'm sure many of you know, we go through our values every week and we tend to use a value to talk around the show. Tonight's value is transformation. And every time I think of this value, I always think of my old friend Kirk, who many, many years ago came up with an idea of the LUF boat, and people just thought we was mad. What do you want a LUF boat for? And he said, well, asset-based community development is about identifying existing resources on our doorstep. We've got the Leeds-Liverpool Canal that was instrumental in the industrial revolution. How about we take advantage of it and we sail a canal boat up and down the canal, connecting with people, and that dream, that vision became a reality, and Kirk transformed that canal boat into a vessel which used to be a home but was transformed into a training room. And volunteers did it, and it was a fabulous project, lots of great outcomes. But I always think about the name of the boat, and the name of the boat was called, it was named after the people who I suppose commissioned the production of it, and it was Chris and Alice. So they called it Chris and Alice, or Chrysalis. And we just thought, wow, a chrysalis is the cocoon that helps a caterpillar change into a butterfly, and then we just started getting all deep and funky about, well, it's a bit like recovery, in it, when you transform from being one thing to another. And you know, I think about it in terms of a desert, you know, and you can fly over. There's two birds flying over this very same desert. One was a stinking old buzzard, and I kind of use that as an analogy of me looking for things to feed on, dead carcasses to feed on. And that was what life was like for me in addiction. And I suppose coming into recovery, a transformation happened, and I went from being a stinking buzzard feeding off dead carcasses to a bit more like another bird that flies over the same desert, but every time it feeds off a cactus plant, it pollinates it and it grows. And I know when I look back over the last 10 years, I've been able to successfully transmit some real positivity with the people that have come into contact with, just like that hummingbird when it feeds off and pollinates flowers, it brings life with it. So, you know, that's when I think of that value transformation, that's what it brings to mind. But it's really apt tonight because we've got a bid in Lancashire called Changing Futures, and that's about a transformation. That's about changing the system, and tonight is what's called an imagination observatory, where we think about what things we'd like to see happen, because where the mind goes, the body follows, you know, and we don't just want some of our viewers to think about what life's going to be like when they get the kids out of care. We want them to really push the boundaries and start thinking about what universities those kids are going to be going to when they come out of care. And the last thing I will say is tonight we're also going to talk about a space program. We used to have a Lancashire User Forum annual camp, and for the last year and this year we won't be having it because, you know, we know why we won't be having it, but we're going to be doing something in its place. You know, Tom Woodcock's going to talk to us about the space program. Is that sending a rocket up to the hemisphere, Tom?
It can be, if you want. We could stick you on a rocket the next trip to Mars, Pete.
Okay, well, do you know, let's have some
You're
music.
dancing.
Well, you know what? I've teed it up nicely. We're going to have a think about some of them things while we listen to Tommy Riley, who's going to do some spoken word poetry. Off you go, Tommy.
Nice one, guys. I'll just introduce myself before I start kind of throwing it out there. My name's Tommy Quick Talk. I was an MC from the age of 17. The only place I'd ever MC'd was in and out of crack houses, and you know, it wasn't prayer. Up to the age of 27, started to change my life and came into what I call recovery, which has not been easy. But Peter's invited me down today. You know, I've MC'd in some better places today. I became a drum and bass MC on the Manchester circuit, did a lot of radio, and today I use music to engage with children. So it's quite apt actually, because you're talking about transformation, Pete. So this song's called I See Angels. And I didn't really want to do it with the music in the background, and because I wanted to get the full force of the song really and get the words. So the very first events that I did in Manchester was called Spoken Word. You might have heard of them. They went quite big, but they were just named Spoken Word. So that's what I'm going to do for you. So this is called I See Angels. If you thought like I think, and you've seen what I've seen, then you feel what I feel, because you've been where I've been. Snitches and snails and puppy dogs' tails, crack house on the corner and HMP jails. There's times you fail and times that you grow, times that you lie to the truth that you know. Times angels hide and there's times that they show. And crime's a way of life when you're sleeping on road. Slept on stone through the cold in the rain, snow and sleet, on the streets of vagabonds where the bad man meet. Jack a man roam with the creeps and the freaks, no sheets, fast asleep with the snakes and the sheep. Been a thief and a cheat, but I'm nobody's fool. I see angels, they're all here in the room. Been told I'm crazy, trust, but when you see it too, you'll realize that this planet was never made for me and you. I see angels, they're everywhere, they're all around me. They walk the earth singing songs to keep the demons grounded. Been told I'm crazy, trust, but when you see it too, you'll realize that this planet was never made for me and you. I see angels, they're everywhere, they're all around us. No one believed me. When I spoke, everybody doubted. Been told I'm crazy, trust, but when you see it too, you realize that this planet was never made for me and you. And if you've tried like I've tried, you've got where I go. You've done what I've done, and you've known what I've known. Snitches and snails and puppy dogs' tails, crack house on the corner and HMP jails. My skin was pale. I was too weak like a fortnight is. Sat in jail writing songs with no choruses. One-hit wonders disappeared like the thunder did. Through the bars lightning struck and the angels hid. I've seen angels, they're everywhere, they're all around us. No one believed me when I spoke, everybody doubted. I lived a life of chaos, in and out trap houses. Drugs a way of life, 3 sisters, Brecon Towers. Open your mind, take another look, don't be fooled. Angels are all true, maybe even people that we knew. Been told I'm crazy, trust, but when you see it too, you'll realise that this planet was never made for me and you.
Oh,
Wow.
Well done.
Thank you, mate.
well
Yeah,
done.
yeah, nice one. Thanks for that.
Nice one.
And we're going to
Nice
come
one,
back
guys.
to you, Tommy.
Yeah,
We'll
and I'm going to
come
jump
back to
in
you.
before you start on again, Peter, because I know what you like. And I lose more the fact that the comments are already fleeing and I've already lost track a little bit. So I'm going to jump in. A wow from our lovely Stuart Watson. Chris Rowlands, awesome, nearly as good as your kid. That probably makes sense to you. It doesn't to me. The lovely Wendy Dagger, who I was in Littledale Hall with. Good evening, the beautiful Wendy. Chris Rowlands is just on fire tonight. Stuart Watson, Elon Musk might help you with the rocket. That's the one that's sending you to Mars. Jonathan Chapman is talking about the Lancaster Canal. I sailed up the Lancaster Canal last year, actually. My friend's mum lives on a boat in a barge. So I've never been on one up until last year. Emily Watson's still on it. Scott Parker, big up Q Club representing, is it, how do you pronounce it? Colne. I'm a Northeast girl, but prevention is possible with the youth. Love to the energy of Tommy Quick Talk Riley. Our lovely Scott Parker.
Love you, man.
And Stuart Watson again. How could we not watch Love with such talented, inspiring people doing it? And Tony Burns, I was also in treatment with, lovely Tony Burns, and Ian Cartmel. Oh, sorry, hang on a minute, I've missed another one. Stephen Brown's watching, I do believe. Stephen Brown. So yeah, right. And Barbara English. Right, I'll stop now. I'm caught up. You can start again.
Thank you. And guys, don't forget to hit that share button. Let's try and get this out there as far as possible. Put it into the WhatsApp groups, put it into the Telegram, share it across all the social media platforms, and let's really spread it out there. Because the next guy is amazing. And it's not just amazing because of the energy he puts out there. He's amazing because of the things he does and for the people who he does it with. So, Benny.
How you doing?
Welcome to the live LUF Lounge, Benny.
Yeah,
Can we before we get into you, can we just have some of Willie's wisdom? Because I'm conscious he's down there and he's got loads of wisdom ready to like wallop us with. Should we just have a little bit of Willie's wisdom, Benny?
Go on, then.
All right, here we go. Another week. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Never regret anything that made you smile. Aspire to inspire before we expire. Every moment is a fresh beginning. And this is some of the most powerful quotes. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid.
Oh,
Go on,
right,
Willie.
Come on, Willie, lad.
Willie, I'm going to have a think about some of that because it's like very, very, very deep. So when I come back to you, tell me which one of them you like the best, right?
I'll have a look now.
Willie,
mate.
isn't Senga your mum?
Yes.
You're getting some love off your mum, obviously. And can I just say, you mentioned the book. I've read Willie's book and I started it and I couldn't put it down. It was literally, I just read it from front to back in one sitting. I mean, it's not a big thick book, but I loved it. And big love I've thanked Willie personally, but big love to Willie for sending me his book.
You're all right.
Well, we've got some more like updates around Willie's book to share with you soon, so stay tuned in. Benny, every Tuesday night you come along to a Church on the Streets meeting that we have in Preston, and it's a group. It's just a group of diverse people who come together with a common purpose, a common focus to help each other, really. And before you get to that group, I mean, I didn't know this for a few weeks until Emma shared, but you're from Burnley, aren't you? So I thought you travel all the way over to Preston on a Tuesday evening to attend Church on the Street, but that's not the case, is it? You travel over in the afternoon to have dialysis for your kidney.
Yeah. What it is, I'm on dialysis. I go 3 times a week in Preston. But then on a Tuesday night, I come back to Preston. I drive over to the meeting, because all of these people who I've seen at this meeting, I used to feed them on the streets. We used to give them butties, booze, and whatever. And I've just seen an absolutely transformation with these people. Their hearts have changed. They're off drugs. They're beaming for God, and it's just unbelievable. God's just transformed me as well. But like, I just, you know what I mean? I just love coming to Cots meeting on a Tuesday night, because I'm seeing miracles.
Way before I ever met you, I heard about you, and I have to admit, I thought, oh, he sounds a bit mad. He's walking the streets of Preston looking for the broken and busted to feed them, and you know, he's like telling them about God. I wonder how that's going down. And then I started to see the very people that you was feeding pop up in the meeting, and you came and you were saying you wanted to follow up, didn't you? Because you was meeting people who had a need, and you didn't.
Yeah, because I was from Burnley and I couldn't get him. I couldn't find. Well, anyway, I was feeding them, but it was okay feeding them, but they couldn't. I had no follow up to get anywhere, and I didn't really know. I didn't know anybody from Preston. There were me, Ian, and Kevin, and we went every week feeding them. And we said, we need some follow-up for these people. And we prayed about it and whatever. And next thing you know, we bumped into your wife, Emma Daggers. I thought, wow. Before you know it, we had his contacts. I thought, well, I've got contacts here now. So things went on from there. But miracles are happening. Miracles are happening around me. Anyway, I fed one lass on the street. I know she's not here now, but the same thing. The same lass, I give her a butty, I give her a brew and a pike and whatever, and I'm on dialysis. Next thing you know, about 3 weeks later, she comes walking into dialysis. She came into dialysis. I said, oh, hiya, Carol, how you doing? She goes, all right, Benny, how you doing? So little dude and whatever, I started talking to her about Jesus and things like that. But she was an addict, you know, she was an addict. And she lived in a shared house, 4 of them, with working girls along. But her kidneys are only 4% working. But the same thing with the kidneys, her kidneys weren't working. And I said, would you like to come to church with me? She went to me, yeah, I would do. I'd love to come to church. She said, I've tried everything. Anyway, she came. And as she came, week after, she said, well, I really enjoyed that. Can I come again? I said, yeah. So she came again. And the little whatever, this she came on a Sunday night. And when she came Sunday, she gave her heart to Jesus.
Come
on a
on.
Sunday. On a Tuesday, she died. I went, wow. I was devastated because she was still using at the same time as whatever. But it snatched her away from the enemy, you know what I mean? But little do you know what, it was a knock-on effect. The mate come, the council worker come, the social worker come. I thought, wow, all these people. It was a knock.
Wow.
The murder. It was a knock-on effect. And it's the same with these people at Cots's. I come on Tuesday night. They've all, look at it, if you look at them all, Tim, they're all beaming for God, where their lives have changed around, and you know what I mean, and they want to help people now, where they got help, and it's just amazing what's happening. God's spirit is pouring out everywhere.
Come on, bro.
It is. He's pouring his spirit out everywhere, and I really think, you know what I mean. I can't. I'm just overwhelmed with it, you know what I mean. This old lady said to me, "You're coming to Preston." I went, "I'm coming to Preston. You're coming to work in Preston." I said, "No, I'm not coming to Preston. Do you know what it is? I'm on dialysis 3 times a week in Preston. I'm sat there talking to everybody on dialysis. And everybody knows. The nurses are coming up to me. Can you pray for me? I'm putting my hands, laying my hands on them, praying for them. They're getting healed. I mean, I have no power, but I look to an higher power, and they're getting healed. And everybody in hospitals coming up to me now. I'm like, can you pray for me? Can you pray? I thought, wow, but miracles are happening. Miracles are happening around me. Everything, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I just, like I said, but the old lady said to me, "You coming to Preston?" I said, "No, I'm not." She says, "Yes, you are. I come to dialysis 3 times a week. I go to Cots's church on Tuesday night. I go to Freedom Church Sunday night." I thought, wow, you know, I can't get out of Preston. So God's got me in Preston. And do you know what it is? It's unbelievable.
There's a big community of people out there who are part of the faith sector.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like, you know, they're already there and they're saying, look, we want to get stuck in, we want to help.
Yeah.
And we want to do it because that's what turns us on. That's what we're called to do. And
yes,
we sometimes miss the opportunities to like make them connections.
Yeah, we do, because what it is, we sit there, we pray for the Holy Spirit to come upon us. Oh, you know what I mean? We pray to God to help us and all that, and we just sit there and wait and do nothing. But if you step out in faith and just do it, and then the Holy Spirit comes upon it, oh, I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. Because God is spirit, and you got to operate in that spirit, and it's unbelievable when you operate in the spirit and give him the glory for everything. I know people like, I mean, I didn't believe in God. I didn't. I was a drug addict. I was on drugs for 40 odd years. I've got 1 tooth in my head now. Look, I've 1 tooth in my head through taking drugs and all that. But God has transformed me. I'm on dialysis, and I tell you what it is, right? I'm not interested. I know God's got his hand on me. So I just tell people, everybody I'm telling, but if you step out in faith and just do it, watch God come into it, then he will come into it.
Steve, Benny, do you think, you know, you started off talking about the connections, and I know Maslow has this hierarchy of needs, and he says, you know, people need shelter, they need food, and they need warmth. But I think when you're born, it's not that what you need. You need a connection to somebody who's going to look after you. If you've not got that connection, you struggle. And I think we've got a real opportunity to establish some connections with the faith sector. But what if you, because I know in church on the streets, we have people who are a part of it and they say, I don't believe in God.
You know, all I can say then is that if you don't believe in God, I like something for nothing. Right? So if I like something for nothing, I always have done. If I'm right, I've gained everything. If I'm wrong, I've gained nothing. So that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, God will
tell us about tell us about, you told me a story when you was in hospital and there was a guy across the way from you and he was dying, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And will you tell him?
I've had two experiences like that. What it was, I was in hospital myself, and there was this bloke, one outside of me and one across from me, and this bit side of me, he was dying, on his way out, and the other one, they had a crash team on him all night long with electric bump started him and everything. Anyhow, I'm in hospital with my kidneys and that, and I thought, anyhow, these people are praying for me. And I had my eyes closed, and I could see it's like a cloud, but a light coming through the cloud. And God, he said to me, I'm going to show you something here. And I said, he told me to pray for these people. So I prayed for this one outside of me, and I prayed for the other one. Well, morning after, him outside of me sat up. He said, you want your breakfast? He went, yeah, I'm starving. Eating his breakfast. The doctor's come and says, what's that? He's doing sat up. They didn't believe it. They said, wow, I can't believe this. He's had a full breakfast. Yeah, they send him home. They thought he were dying. And yet, to the bloke, he moved with wires on. Next thing you know, he started pulling the wires out, all these wires off him. And he sat up. He sat up. I thought, wow, two people were both near dead there. And God, when I prayed, see, they prayed for me, I prayed for them too. And them two, they got healed. I thought, wow. But things like that were happening around me. I mean, like I say, one lad there mentioned that poem in the angel. I actually seen an angel. And I was on my hands and knees worshipping and praying to God. I seen an angel. But things are happening to me. It's just unbelievable.
Well, every Sunday morning when we come down, so we come down with a good team from Preston, don't we? It's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. We're going to need like more modes of transport because there's that many people who come and they come, I suppose, because they get fed. They go home with a couple of bags of food, don't they, Benny?
Yeah, of course they do.
But they're also introduced to a lot of people who are there to support one another. They're introduced to a community. Yeah. And I have to say, I love your enthusiasm. No, I love your energy.
Sorry. Come on. My heart's depressing. My heart is depressing, like the old woman says. And it is. I go out to Preston, right? And the homeless people, I used to go to these homeless shelters feeding them. And you know what they said to me? They said, hey, you give me a bookie on the streets. I said, yeah, of course they did. He said, why do you come to Preston? You're from Burnley. I said, you won't believe it. I said, my wife failed on a theory test. She's failed it 15 times. That's why you keep seeing me. So, you know what I mean? Like, this is why, you know what I mean? It's amazing what God's doing. He's doing in my life, anyhow.
Well, you certainly, you know, I've got someone helping you. You are a force for good in the community, and long may you reign.
It's like I love everybody. You know what I mean? Like Cots, I love it. I love everybody. Like you, Peter and Emma. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable how God put me in front of you two. And we were praying, me, Ian and Kevin, we were praying to get them back up. So if anyone's on the streets, because these lads pulled me up and they went, Benny. They didn't call me Benny, but they said, can you get us somewhere to live? We've nowhere to live. And you know what it is? It took me like a ton of bricks. I couldn't answer them because I didn't have any connections with Preston. But I have now. I've got a few people. In fact, I've been on this Red Rose here. I've been listening to Red Rose for about 4 or 5 weeks in background. You know what I mean? Because like the more connections I can get, the better. And the more I want to do and all. I just want to do it every day a week, mate. Work for God.
Purpose, and you can see you love doing it, and you know it's like why you're not doing any harm. You're actually a force for good.
Exactly.
So
yeah, there's enough evil in this world. You know, so that we might well dig up things.
good man. Hang about and like stick
I
around
know.
for a bit.
I'm a bit
And-
nervous.
Okay.
So I'm a bit nervous, you know, coming on, but I've done it now, so might be
Good
better
man.
next time.
If I don't know if you can see them, Benny, but the love arts went absolutely crazy when you were speaking there. You've got a lot of support on here.
Yeah.
Ian Cartmel, Chris Rowlands, and there's a lady on that's put 3 comments on one after the other. Chris Rowlands is on fire every week with his comments. Thank you, Chris. Connection is all some people want. Ian Cartmel, another one. There's been about 4 or 5 from Ian Cartmel. Thank you so much for joining in and commenting. 3 off the belt from Nicola Brown. The universe is aligning. Keep practicing, Stephen, because faith without practice is pointless. Exactly, Steve. If God's not found to be real, at least now you're living a cleaner life. Our lovely Ollie J, who I was in treatment with as well, which is lovely. Good evening, Ollie J, if you're still there. And Emily Rook, I did shout you out at the beginning and she's told me off. I shall shout you out again. She supported me. She covered for me last week. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Please forgive me, Emily. I did shout you out at the beginning, but I'm shouting you out again. Yeah, I'm back up to, and our lovely Scott is watching as well. So yeah, we're still the love heart. Oh, Ollie J's just put a little love heart. Yeah, you've got a lot of love there, Benny, when you were speaking. A lot of love. So you had nothing to be nervous about. They were flying. It was like love heart confetti going up in the air. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice one. Okay, before we go to Lee Harrington, Willie, let's have some of your wisdom, pal. Which one's your favourite? You're on mute.
So I'm just trying to work it one out.
Well, okay, while you're working it out, can I just give your service provider, the guys who are looking after you in the community, a shout out? Because, you know, just before lockdown hit, we was fixing to take about 40 people to the DDN, the Drink and Drug News Conference in Birmingham. And, you know, we asked your housing support team, your mental health team, if they could help us meet the cost to getting you down there.
Yes.
And you know, that never happened. But what they did do was enable you to produce a book. And that book is for sale on our website. You can't just buy it just yet, but in the next couple of days, you'll be able to go and buy Willie's book, and the money that generates, we've already gave Willie the cost to make sure he's not out of pocket for the book, but any money that's generated from that book will be ring fenced to make sure that Willie's got his seat on the bus, that his hotel's paid for, that his evening meals paid for at the Drink and Drug News Conference. And I think that's a gold standard, a sustainable approach. We're not saying, oh yeah, we'll pay for Willie. We'll facilitate Willie to enable him to generate an income and pay for himself. And I love that. That's just where it's at, man.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
So
Yes.
And once again, if you've just tuned in, when this book does go on sale, it is worth reading. It's not a big book. I read it from cover to cover in one sitting, but it's just lovely, and everybody loves. And as soon as Willie speaks, he has so much love for that guy, and I have met him in fact. And Chris has just put Chris Rowlands again. I hope one day I can meet our Willie.
Yeah, you will, Chris. You will do, Chris, mate.
And this first run, we've only got 30 copies. So this first run, Willie, do you reckon you'll be able to sign them copies or what?
Yes, I will.
These first 30 are going to have Willie's signature on. So I anticipate they will go very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, when I got mine, Pete say Willie sent me a copy, which was lovely of him, and I took a photograph and put it on Facebook and said, I've had this book. What an absolute legend! And even just on my own personal Facebook, people were saying, where can I buy a copy? Where can I buy a copy? So I don't suppose they're going to last a minute, to be honest. I think they're going to be gone. And I said, I'm honestly not sure. I'll try and find out. But I said, I know they will be going on sale. So, see, we've already got people. Just the people on the line now will probably snap them up. Jonathan Chapman wants one. Stuart Watson wants one. Chris Rowlands wants one. So, Sophia Akram. Do you know Sophia Akram, Willie?
Yeah. Hiya, Sophie.
Sophia Akram from myself and the whole team.
Hi,
supporting.
Sophie.
She says, supporting Willie is a pleasure. He is an absolute inspiration.
Yeah.
Chris Rowland says he'll buy 3 now. Pretty please.
See what I mean?
Wow.
And you know what'll happen then, Willie? They'll start asking you to come and give talks to the commissioners for the system design, won't they, Lee Harrington?
Sure we will. I want a copy of it as well, Willie.
Yeah.
I'll have a copy, Willie.
I'll be buying one as soon as they're available.
Okay. So you heard it here first, guys. Them copies are going to go quick. So
apparently, Pete, sorry, I'm butting in again. You see, you can't out-talk me. I told you you wouldn't, didn't I? Sophia Akram, we were going to do a book launch, but Pete Yarwood took them all. Peter Yarwood.
I know.
Bangers, that mate. Bangers.
Yeah, I know.
Goodness
Well,
me.
they're on our website, and we will make sure, Willie, you're with us at the DDN conference when we're allowed to go.
Yeah, thanks, Pete.
You know, we're with you every step of the way, mate.
Yeah,
you know, I think me and you are going to be using our speaker boot camp skills very, very shortly.
Oh yeah, the speaker boot camp. When I did it with you, Pete, and I was just stood there like that, trying to blot my words out, you know. And he said, you know, Willie, you know, use your hands and that when you talk and into camera. And I were proper shy then, wasn't I? And look at me, never show up.
Honestly, man. And the last time, do you remember the Accrington talk and you brought the house down? It was about 100 people?
Yeah, it was laughter, wasn't it? Proper laughter.
Got a lot of love for you, Willie.
Yeah, I love these LUF meetings, me, just getting up and talking to people. When I first started coming from Kempleview Hospital, I used to sit in chair, and when people went up in front of me, they were talking about their life and that, like addiction and everything like that. And I was sat there numb, and then it just hit me because these people were inspiring, talking about their lives and addiction. And I thought, I want to get up there and do that. I want to get up there. And it was with Pete coming to our tables to introduce us and that lot. And then I finally got up, and there was pure laughter, you know. I just made them laugh, you know. And since then, the people at LUF and Red Rose, honestly, have made me like a family member, you know. And I just want to say thank you to all them and the people that have helped me in recovery. I've come right through 9 years now without addiction and 5 years without alcohol addiction. And I feel great now. I've still got my mental health, but that's been looked after by our Sophia. Sophia out there. And I just like to say thanks. Wow. And I just like to say a saying, right? A special saying to everybody.
Yeah.
Birds with bright feathers will never be caged.
Okay. Have a think about that one, people.
Right.
Right. Let's get on, because I know we've only got so much time to get through. Lee Harrington, we have been like having some discussions behind the scenes around. You tell us what it is, Lee.
Okay. So The Ministry for Housing and Local Government, a few months ago, just before Christmas, announced that there was going to be a scheme that local authorities and areas could bid into to start a change programme. And what they mean by that, what they've realised, which is that lots of people have quite complicated lives, and they're affected by things like domestic abuse, substance misuse, mental health. They've been in and out of prison, in contact with the criminal justice system. People experience homelessness, and quite a few people will be experiencing or trying to deal with a number of those issues at the same time. And it's become really apparent during COVID over the last year. So when COVID started, it last kind of March, when we went into lockdown, central government asked all the local authorities, all the kind of district authorities to get everybody in. So to find accommodation for people that were rough sleepers. So all over the country, we took over hotels and B&Bs, and in some areas they opened hostels that had been closed down in recent years. So they reopened. They tried to accommodate everybody. And what became clear to us in Lancashire, and I guess all over the country, is that even when we provided accommodation for particularly for the rough sleepers, some of them had so many challenges that they weren't able to stay in the accommodation. Now that's probably because they didn't also have the right kind of support as well, but it was really clear. So some people would be able to stay a couple of nights, but it just got, it got on top for them. They needed to do something else. They just couldn't cope with the rules. So, so they'd leave or they'd get kicked out, and they'd be re-accommodated a few times, and just not being able to fit in and obey the rules. So I think that was bubbling away as well in the background. So the Ministry of Housing and Local Government asked for areas to put in bids, an expression of interest for us to work with people with complex needs. So with 3 out of those 5 kind of challenges I mentioned: substance misuse, mental health, domestic abuse, involvement with the criminal justice system, and homeless. So to work with people who've got kind of 3 of those issues running at the same time. So we were really keen at Lancashire County Council in Public Health that we looked at the whole of Lancashire, so including the 2 unitary authorities as well, Blackburn and Blackpool, because people, when they're in crisis, they move around, don't they? They don't sit in one place. If they're not getting their needs met or they've got issues, they'll move around. So I mean, we could see people over last year who starting happy to move to Blackburn, then go to Blackpool, and end up in Preston.
Yeah.
So we were keen that we worked together across the whole of Lancashire 14.
Brilliant.
12 districts, the county council, and the 2 unitary authorities. We wanted to work with probation, with different parts of the health system, so GPs, as well as things called CCGs, clinical commissioning groups. They're the health bodies that commission and buy all the kind of health services on our behalf for us. So to work with them, to work with social services departments, to work with housing departments. So we managed to get everyone to agree to that joint approach, which was no mean feat, because you have to do it really, really quickly. And what we wanted to do is, have people heard of MEME before? Has anyone heard of MEME? It's called Making Every Adult Matter, and it's a philosophy and it's an approach to working with people. So basically, that approach is, rather than us constantly trying to get people who are faced with multiple challenges, rather than trying to get them to fit in, around a square peg into a round hole sometimes, rather than getting someone to turn up to an appointment to see the drugs worker at 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe we need to be more flexible, and maybe professionals and services need to wrap around the individual and support them where they are. So that's the kind of principle. So we wanted to do that. We've got a MEME pilot in Preston and one in Blackburn, and they've got a project called Fulfilling Lives in Blackpool, and they've all attempted to do that. So we wanted to do that across Lancashire. So in this project that we're bidding for, the Changing Futures scheme, we've got to show change at an individual level, at a service level, and at a system level, at a strategic level. So it's got to be real change. So if individuals need to see a real difference in the way services are providing support. So services need to change. And then the people that commission the system and the way those services relate to each other, they need to go through a change program as well to make sure that we're working with people when they need it. So that's the basic idea is that we're going to go through a change process. We're going to support people. We're going to wrap around individuals. So there'll be housing workers, the mental health workers, substance misuse workers. There'll be there's a strong role for peers in this as well. One of the things we want to do is the work that like Red Rose and the Well have done, and in other parts of the country as well. We want to work with people, work with users' voice, support them through that change, through that their individual change program, offer like mentoring, hopefully micro-employment posts, and then some employment opportunities. So they're people who are involved all the way through and we'll start delivering and supporting in kind of like navigator roles. So within all that, so we've got through, so we had to put this expression of interest in before Christmas, so I'm skipping all over the place. We got through to the next round. So we've been shortlisted. We're in the last 25 areas around the country, and they will fund 19 areas. So it's still competitive. We might not get the money, but obviously we're hoping that we will. So we're in the last 25. So I think we've got a good chance. And one of the things we've been doing, and I've invited Pete, and we set a group up to talk to people with lived experience, people in that different situations. So people that are, people from Red Rose Recovery, people from CGL, people from the Well, from the Lancashire Women's, from people that have been through DA service, domestic abuse services, people that have been homeless and now accommodated. So we've got a user voice group, and we've been meeting every week for probably the last, is it every month? Is it about a month, Pete, or 5-6 weeks?
Yeah, about a month.
So we've been testing ideas. We've been asking people what would good support look like? What did you want to see when you first knocked on that door? How can we stitch things together? So we're really conscious and keen that that lived experience is stitched all the way through this process, because if it's not, it won't work. So it's a change. It's changing the way services are experienced by individuals, how they're delivered. And a big part of that change process is having service users involved all the way through. So they'll sit on the board, they've been involved in the design process now. We'll move people through so they become mentors and staff as well through that process, hopefully. It will last 3 years if we get it. If we don't get it, the organisations are committed to working differently and to working in that kind of mean way. So we'll still see change. We just won't get a big fat dollop of cash to help kickstart it. That's kind of it, really.
So when will you know? So what's the timelines for that, and how much is a big dollop?
A big dollop of cash. Well, they haven't told us exactly how much it is, but I know the general pot they've increased from, I think, about £40 million to 60 million. Now that's got to run over 3 years. So there's going to be 19 areas. So there's going to be quite a few millions available. We've got to submit the bid by I think it's the 6th or the 8th of May. Unfortunately, I'm not submitting it, so it doesn't matter that I don't know the date.
Right.
It's in a really advanced draft form at the minute.
Yeah.
Hiya, mate. Tommy, nice to meet you, pal. Can I ask a question, please? Do you mind?
No, of course, please.
So I work in prevention before cure, but we're both looking at sort of similar goals. Where would that come into this bid, or where the money is spent per se?
Okay, well, so what prevention rather than cure?
Well, I work with young people, so I work from the ages of 8 to 18, 21. So obviously I'm trying to prevent them getting into addiction and getting where you're kind of working in. And you know, so would that money, I mean, it's quite a lot of money, 40 to 60 million pounds.
That's not just for Lancashire, that's across the whole country.
That's across the whole country.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So
that's across, there'll be 19 areas that get that money, and that'll have to last them over 3 years. So
right, okay. Do you have any services that reach out to young people as well as?
Yeah. So this service is for people that are experiencing the challenges. It's about the prevention of future harm.
Of course.
So trauma-informed practice. We'll be training staff, we'll be training peers to work in a trauma-informed way. So, you know, people need to work through that, don't they? A lot of the time, you know, when people go through treatment, they don't realise until they're actually involved, you know, going through a treatment process, that actually they've had loads of baggage, and there's loads of stuff that have kept them using, have kept them in addiction. So similarly, we want to offer that support to a broader group of people. We in Lancashire, we commission an organisation called We Are With You, which used to be called Young at Action, and they work specifically with young people up to the age of 25 around substance misuse. So they've got much more of a prevention focus.
Okay.
Lee,
yeah, great stuff.
So in 2010, Lee, the drug strategy came out, and the first paragraph talks about the recognition that substance misuse is a complex and perverse issue, and that the only way it's going to be successfully tackled is if we all work together. Now, sometimes the way money and systems are created, they pit organizations against each other, and they create competition. They don't enable true collaboration to work. But it's like we're discussing this in 2010, and like 2021, we're only just saying, right, we're going to bring that change in now.
Well, in the defence of some of our treatment services, I think they've gone through a lot of change in those 10, 11 years. I don't think there's necessarily been the same emphasis in other parts of the system. So I don't think housing providers, and I don't think mental health providers have been given the same challenges in terms of our focus around recovery. Now, they're aimed at recovery, but we've gone through a massive change process around substance misuse. So they've been reaching out, and they've been working with lots of organisations, and that's why you know, Tom and Chris and you helped and started organising and setting up things like Red Rose Recovery to reach out, to develop a recovery community that we could move people on out of treatment, but to still continue with some support and empower people to take control over their own recovery. So I think different parts of the system are at different points. So I think that this process will allow those other parts of the system to kind of play catch up with the more holistic kind of approach that treatment services have got now. Drug treatment, drug and alcohol treatment.
That'd be brilliant, because I agree. I think that, you know, the substance misuse sector has, and I know that because I work in it, it's gone through immense change. I do agree. I think the rest of the system needs to like catch up, because it's a whole like approach, isn't it? Life, it's not just substance misuse is the issue. We'll nail that and people's lives are fixed, because it's a whole thing, isn't it? But the other question that these are not my like questions. These are just questions that have come from the surveys we've been doing, where, you know, and I would say we've got a survey out there. So on the top of this page, guys, the survey's live for the Changing Futures questions. And although that bid has to be done quickly, we'll run that survey for the first quarter, because we're interested in the data, and it'll still influence the design. But Lee, what's coming up time and time again, and I you know, I haven't got the solution to it, is the disconnect between mental health and substance misuse. It's a chronic relapsing condition, and when people, I mean, we're dealing with it now, and whether it is the case or it isn't the case, the perception is that if I've got a mental health problem and I relapse, when I go to the mental health teams, they won't see me until I go to the substance misuse teams, and then I'll get batted.
I'm sure some of that's there. We are going through, independently of this, a bit of a change process as well locally. The working relationship between community mental health services and community substance misuse services has got a lot stronger over the last 18 months. For me, one of the challenges seems to be if someone's not receiving treatment, if someone's not currently in treatment with a mental health service and they've got a substance misuse service, getting them into mental health treatment can be a challenge sometimes, and that it can also be a challenge the other way around as well. So we're doing a lot of joint work. Just a second. So there's a lot of work going on at the minute around that. Our mental health provider locally is just going through a big mental health change process as well, which will sit outside and run at the same time that we're doing this change in future stuff. It's not been good enough, and it's not been good enough for years. We tried to nail dual diagnosis and improve stuff about 10 years ago, and it kind of fell by the wayside. So we're trying to improve it, and we know there are challenges and problems with that system response to people who've got both conditions, and it's not been good enough.
Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm going back to when it just seems to be the answer is just this dual diagnosis is only, to me, those words dual diagnosis only seems to have popped up in this last year. And I think, well, I was in the psychiatric unit about 9 years ago up in the northeast, and I remember them saying to me then, well, stop drinking, we can't treat your mental health, we stop you drinking. I'm like, well, which came first? I don't know. And I was just like, surely that's just, and it's so frustrating being on, as I have been on that end of, we can't treat you drinking, your mental, and I was just like, it was so frustrating. But then the homeless side of things, I frustrated now. I thought, because I used to go in with Red Rose Recovery in the homeless shelter at Edward Street every Monday. 90% of the guys in there, because I've got really good friends with some of them, and they stopped me in the street on a daily basis if they saw me and knew them all by name, and they'd always shout, and they just wanted answers. And 90% of it was like, can you get me in a rehab? Can you do? And I'm just like, I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to do that. How can I? You know what I mean? And it's awful. It's frustrating and it's horrible. And the treat so dreadfully. People will just walk, and it's awful. And it used to break my heart. And I do miss going in there, but.
So there's a massive need, isn't there, Lindsay?
A huge need.
This Changing Futures programme, if we get it, will really, really help us. It'll really, really draw out all these cases, where people have been failed or they haven't had the right kind of support at the right time. So this is an attempt to change those individuals' experiences of service. It's to link things together. So they'll have a navigator. They'll have someone that works with them, that stays with them, so they're not pushed from pillar to post, because that's the other thing people have said. My key worker changes every 2 minutes. I've got to replay. I've got to retell my story every time I meet a new person. So people are being re-traumatized by this.
Having to. I get that. Yeah.
Lee. Yeah. Senga says the system doesn't work at the moment. Nobody actually listens, Lee Harrington. Jonathan Chapman is saying it's comforting to know that we've got future support coming through to the people who need it. Roland's nice one, mate. He's fired the link into the chat for people to attach the survey. The guys are getting stuck into the comments here saying it's really educational to listen to.
And Stuart Watson again, because I was in treatment with Stuart. I totally agree, Lindsay. I've had exactly the same experience of that in psychiatric units, plural. and it took me a social worker to get me into the right rehab for my needs. So I came from County Durham, hence I live now here. I've lived in the northeast since 1977. So I sort of came here and never went back, because 100%, who's got the best recovery in Great Britain? Lancashire, obviously. So I have no intentions of going back up there because we've got the best. So, but I can get the frustration. It must be horrendous. I mean, I never had the homeless side of things, but I can't even begin to imagine the mental health and addiction was bad enough without.
The thing is, all these different areas of service, all these different organisations have been designed to focus on a particular problem, and they haven't really been designed with other parts of the system in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
they've all been,
Absolutely.
So it's like a series of train tracks running next to each other, but they're not.
It just seems to me like, right, this is not our problem. We're blinkered to the bigger picture. It's just like, well, this is our thing. This is our thing. This is nothing to do with us. You go there and you go there. And it's just like being passed round, like past the parcel. It's so frustrating.
I think Peter hit the nail on the head, because this has been talked about since 2010. I remember going to my first treatment centre in 2012, and there was a rise in treatment centres where there was a reduction in the money being ploughed into the mental health unit. You mentioned, Lindsay, about the chicken and the egg syndrome. Which one came first?
Yeah.
Peter said that, you know, the government released money and says, oh, right, okay, everyone work together now. And yet it created competition. So what you're doing, Lee, I think if you can do it and you can clock it, maybe it's took that long for people to, like yourself, to go, do you know what? We actually need to put some effort in to bringing these services together. Because, yeah, I've experienced it. I spoke to Peter the other day. You know, I've been in recovery 10 years, and there's been 3 major relapses through that time. 3 times that I've needed support from different services for different reasons, including homelessness. And it's been painful, been very, very painful to try and get myself back on top of the ladder. So if you can do what you intend to do and what you're saying you do, Peter, amazing, amazing.
It's a collective responsibility. Yeah. And there are lots of people involved, and there's lots of energy, and there's a lot of people who are really committed to try and push this change forward. Yeah. So I'm really optimistic about it. It's the most optimistic I've been for years. So hopefully,
yeah, come on, man.
There'll still be loads of challenges. It's still going to be tough.
Where's Benny? He could do some praying, because he seemed to have had some good powers before. So let's get Benny.
Please do, Benny. Please
go on, Benny, lad.
I want to just echo that Lee is, and you know, Lee's part of the good guy team, and there's quite a big team now in Lee. And we was talking the other day about, you know, there's a bit of a mantra happen. How do you describe it? It's a phrase that somebody's coined where they've said, you know, you reminded me of it, Lee. Can you remember what it was?
Okay. Was it not to, but with? I can't remember. I can't remember.
It was, you keep talking and we keep dying.
Right.
And I just thought it's really, really, really profound, isn't it? You know, now is the time for action, isn't it? You know, and we're all in this together. You know, it's like we have a part to play, more so than ever before in any time I can think of. We have got a significant part to play alongside all the other areas of the system.
We're all citizens. We all live here, aren't we? And we need to look after each other. And one of the reasons, one of the ways we do that is by developing services that to support us in our hour of need. They're there. We need to get them to work more efficiently and better and closer and focus on the individual rather than on what the service can do. We need people to think a little bit broader and connect. It's like we're trying to push the system through like a therapeutic process, I guess.
It needs it though, doesn't it? And like Thomas said, it just seems like, rather than this is my job, that's your job, why can't we just all work? We all want the same thing. We all want people to get well and lead fulfilling lives. Why does it need to be so?
Read.
Guess how much it costs to keep someone sleeping rough on the streets? Guess how much it costs?
Go on.
So I got this from a colleague who's a housing officer in one of the districts. It's about £25,000 a year.
Absolute
Big like
madness.
hospital attendances, police call out, homelessness assessments, all sorts of different things. Thousands of pounds to keep someone.
I know what services I used in my 30 plus years of drinking. The amount of hospital visits, psychiatric units, social services for my kids. Absolutely. I mean, goodness knows how many times attempts on my life in different psychiatric units. Just hospital visits is just, that's just me. And I didn't have the homeless situation. Can I just quickly say to Willie, several people keep shouting me out, including your mum. Willie, your brother's watching. I have to tell you, your mum's told me, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Your brother is watching. Ian Cartmel, anyone needs a prayer, just ask. You've got some really, really, well, there's a lot of people praying for a start off, if nothing else. Gemma Hughes, Barbara English, Chris Rowlands. Yeah, Chris Rowlands, God knows what the future addicts are going to get hooked on drastically. It needs fresh air breathing into it.
Lindsay.
Hello, sweetheart. I can, darling. What do you want?
Can I say something as well?
Go on then. Of course you can, at any time.
Yeah, I am. I just wish to talk about the mental health system, really. I've been in and out since I was, well, not in and out of hospital, but I got diagnosed at the age of 5 with ADHD. And then I was in and out like child psychiatry and psychology. Then I got into hospitals at the age of 15, 16, 17, with psychosis and hallucinations and all that lot. And basically for about 25 years now, I've been going round and round and round in circles, and at this part in time, you know what I mean? It still takes people like 18 months to see a doctor, people that, are trying to get help outside. Something shocked me today. There was a woman outside today when I was going down the road, and she was hugging a bin and everything like that. And I thought, these people are slipping through the nets, all these mental health people. Addicts need help, They are people, they're not addicts. They are people.
Yeah.
Someone cares about each one of them. You know what I mean? I just wish to say, there should be more help, mate,
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well done, Willow.
Do you know, Tom Woodcock, Tom, we're going to come to you now, but you sent me a link yesterday or the day before, and we've talked about this guy. He's called Aidan Halligan, and he's passed on now, hasn't he, Tom?
That's right, yeah.
He was responsible for some fantastic work called the Well North, and you sent me a link to a talk, and he was telling a story about a hospital, and like within this hospital there was a lady who'd worked there for 27 years, and she was a cleaner, and he was saying this cleaner had more authority than the chief exec of the hospital. When you walked in to this hospital as an employee, if you didn't get on with this lady, your future wasn't secure in this hospital, because she, like I said before, she had more authority than the chief exec. And what she used to do was recognize when people came into the A&E hospital, and she said normally the people who was the most anxious were the least poorly, the least trauma affected, and I used to, without being asked, go over and hand them a cup of tea, not a latte with a twist, just a polystyrene hot sweet cup of tea without being asked. And what that meant was anyone who started to get anxious over the 28 years, if they seen this lady heading towards them with a cup of tea, they knew they was in trouble. And Aidan was saying, I wanted to know how this lady had gained more authority than the chief exec. I was interested how she did that over 28 years. And she said, it's very, very easy. I can boil it down to one word: kindness. And I just thought that was a really profound story. You know, kindness is really where it's at, isn't it?
Be
Tom
kind
Woodcock.
always is my motto.
Kind is love.
So, Tom, welcome to the live LUF Lounge. As you know,
Cheers,
we've got a
Pete.
whole new crew, a whole new community.
Yeah.
And like, you know, some of them might not know who you are. They might not know that you are one of the co-founders of Red Rose Recovery. You know, you were there right at the beginning.
So yeah, it is really nice to be back, and I don't know. I mean, there's a few things to say. We talked during the week about, Pete and I have regular conversations, but the reason I'm really keen to be here today was just to sort of I suppose link into how Red Rose Recovery as a charity and an organisation works and operates, because obviously we employ people. We have a staff group and a leadership structure. We're commissioned by the county council and other people, but the charity itself has got trustees, and that's like all charities have got to be constituted in a way with trustees. And I've been a trustee for the last 7 years. I was involved in setting it up when I used to be working in the same role as Lee's working in now in Lancashire. But we had our annual general meeting on Monday, so every charity has to have an annual meeting, and and basically I got elected by the other trustees. Not many of us, so it's not like it wasn't a great achievement, but I'm just taking over the chair of the trustees. So I'm really keen to connect with the LUF, because Red Rose was set up to support the Lancashire User Forum. The Lancashire User Forum came first. In fact, the first meeting of the Lancashire User Forum lasted about 15 minutes before there were only 3 people there. I was one of them, and then there was a bit of a disagreement, and one fella walked out, and we thought, all right, well, we'll have to try again another time. But anyway, that was 2006, and we decided after it developed to a certain point, and then we said, well, we need an organisation to support the Lancashire User Forum, and that's where Red Rose came from. And it's about creating opportunities for people in recovery, and recovery. Gosh, such a fascinating word, and it gets kind of like, I think because of the politics that you get around substance misuse treatment, you get kind of different interpretations, different opinions, and it's interesting what happens to words. But we always kind of said from the outset that recovery is accessible to everybody, and it is it's something that if you're, it's not just about abstinence. It's a kind of like it's steps in the right direction, isn't it? It's making positive steps and words. So I've been kind of thinking, I think too much. That's definitely I don't know how constructive it always is. Sometimes it's daydreaming, but one of the words that has kind of come round time and again in the last few months is space. And this is like where the conversation with Peter came in, because I think sometimes you get, I don't know, you can get some fundamental kind of insights really, and the pandemic has for me, it's really shone a light on space, different kinds of space, your personal space, the access to the outside, your internal headspace, and I've just been churning lots of these things over, because I live in North Manchester, and one of the kind of spaces that we've got going on in Collyhurst is down at St Malachy's, and we've got a fantastic it's all overgrown brownfield post-industrial site, and an allotment's been created there, and there's lots of really good things happening around that space. But before, maybe a couple of years ago, it was nothing. It was, I mean, there's still lots of issues with fly tipping and things like that going on, but there's a lot of people want to create good, positive space, and we have the conversations, the thoughts have been about space. The fact of the matter is that so many of our social issues are down to huge inequalities in space and access to open space. The land ownership in this country, land reform is just so important. There are just a tiny minority of people who hog the vast majority of the space, and it's fenced off, and it's, you know, people aren't allowed to kind of stretch the legs and breathe the fresh air, and we have far too many people who have got no real quality space to exist in. And I mean, when the system wants to punish people, what does it do? It puts them inside a small box with bars on it, a prison or you know, a secure hospital, and it's like the whole idea of space has just been going round and round and round in my head, and I just feel that addiction there's so much about addiction that's related to space. Why do people use quite often to change the space, don't they? I mean, it's like, if we can work on, and I ended up talking to Pete about it, and we decided, you know, if we start to build a concept of space that will really support recovery. So we call it the space program, and I mean, it's just an idea at the moment, but I think it's a really good way to think about the things that can support and create recovery, and actually kind of like bring health. There are a lot of kind of issues about accessing healthy space, and there are lots of things that get in the way and barriers, and I just feel that as citizens we are not all equal, and I do think that there's got to be some pushback and some challenge, and that's really where the Lancashire User Forum found its voice. It kind of represented, and as a body of people, it was able to represent and speak truth to power, because that's the other thing, is like you have to organize the voice. You have to kind of give, I don't know, give options to powerful people who control the resources, control the wealth. I think establishing a different kind of dialogue that actually allows them to let go of some of that power and that resource, and that's what bit by bit we've been able to do over the years through Red Rose Recovery. And I know I'm rambling, and I know there's a lot of people thinking, what's he going on about? But this is how it rolls, really, when me and Mr. Yard Dog sort of have these conversations, you know. Yeah. So the space program, I mean, that's really I just think space. Think about what space there is in your life and what kind of there is around you, and I just think it's a way of looking at change and transformation, which is the theme of the meeting. Think about space differently and what we can do with it. So I'm going to just park it for a minute, Peter. I hope, and it isn't about, it's not just billionaires, is it, who can kind of have a space program. I think it's something that we can all just sort of like get a hold of. And with Red Rose Recovery, we, like I said, we are there. We exist to support the Lancashire User Forum. And I'm really keen in my role as the chair of the trustees that we do that. And I'd really like us to sort of, over the next year or so, to invest in some, different kind of projects that will create space for people. So,
well, do you know, I love it. It's a brilliant topic to focus the mind, because this is a space, isn't it? It's a space that we've occupied every Saturday for the last over a year now, and we've done it to tackle stigma, to build relationships, maintain connections, and I suppose advocate for people to bring about change. But we've also, within existing partnerships, we've also looked at what space we can utilize a little bit better. So I know in St Anne's, CGL have a treatment centre, and they run that, and they like close it up, and then of a weekend they give us the keys, and the guys go in and they use that space, but they don't have to worry about bills, they don't have to worry about rent, cleaning, internet. We've got an opportunity to use an existing space differently. And I just think, so that's one thing we could do, maybe identify space we could use differently. The other thing was when Tommy Riley was talking to me about his idea to get Quick Talk up and running, the first thing he talked about was creating a space for people to connect and engage. And it's focused me thinking around, normally the space where we engage with people who need help and support, there's a power imbalance, because some spaces you can't enter, for a multitude of reasons. But I think, down on a Tuesday night, that's a space, it's a community centre, but in that space, the people have got a stake. They feel like they've got some ownership of that space. They feel like it's theirs. It's not like they're going into someone else's space and they need to be grateful, or if they don't smell so good, they'll be asked to leave, or if they don't,
they belong to something. It's like Red Rose for me. Red Rose for me is like his extended family for me. So, yeah, I get it completely. You were talking about the boat earlier on, Pete. Didn't it sink?
No, did it sink? No.
What happened to it then? Have we still got it?
It just took some water off.
Issues, didn't it?
It had some issues, but it relapsed, didn't it? So, but we recovered it and it was okay. We've sold it. It's down in Stafford now. Someone else has got it, and they're using it to help people too. So,
can't we get a big double decker or something and make it all jazzy and have it as our?
The idea, a couple of weeks ago, we had someone on this show, and he was talking about, I've got a bus, and you can use it. The Harry. It's called Harry. They're there. The space is there, but I don't think. Well, I think the space program is about organising and saying, right, what space can we access? Because some of it might not be used at all. Some of it might be about growing some food on there, or
Can I come in on that, Peter? Do you mind?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about the space in the space program, because I'm really interested in Elon Musk, and Elon Musk said it, and this is kind of going back to what Lee was saying, you know, about utilizing different organizations, and Elon Musk said, you know, I can't build a rocket ship, but I've got 500 people. In fact, I've got 5,000 people who can, and he's a great inventor, Elon Musk, but what is even better at is marketing. See, everyone thinks he's invented the electric car. He's not invented the electric car. The electric car was invented in the 1940s. And this Neuralink, you know, that he's inventing for the mind, that was invented 60 years ago, the technology. All he's done is he's took it and made it better. Now, going back to utilizing space. So what I've done is I've stepped into I won't call it a failing club or environment for children, but it wasn't working at its full potential. I stepped into their organisation and said, listen, I can get your club to its full potential and capacity. And they've agreed to it, and they've given me the space to use, as well as taking on that. I've had to look at different age groups. I've had to look at all age groups, in fact, because people and abilities. People are asking. My first age group that I was going for was 8 to 13, and people were asking, why can't you go for younger? My son's autistic. Why can't you go for autism? So then I had to think bigger. My thing's marketing and development. No, I'm not going to compare myself to Elon Musk, because I ain't building a spaceship. But if you want to get together, we can sort something out. I'm sure we can get off this planet. Might want to if the lockdown continues. Hey, Lindsay, are you down for it or what?
Sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome. We'll do it. But no, I use Facebook as marketing and logos and pictures and you know, making people believe what I believe. And I said this to someone else. You know, the hardest person to convince is yourself. But once you've convinced yourself, you can convince anybody. That's simple. So I've been given some space, and it's called Ernie's, and we've got 16 pool tables. We've got a roller disco upstairs with lights, flashing lights. We've got DJ booth decks. We've got downstairs. We've got 12 Xboxes, and it's just the perfect environment for the youth centre. I use music to engage with young people. So into every project that I do, it's got to involve music in some way. I just love music. I just absolutely love music. I shared a story the other day of the Pied Piper. The Pied Piper walked into a village, and they said, "Shut up playing your pipe." It goes along these lines somewhere. He said, "No, I like playing my pipe." And they said, "If you don't stop playing your pipe, I'm going to kick you out of the village." He said, "If you kick me out of the village, I'm going to take children." Someone said to me, "It's a bit deep, this, Tommy, but listen." So he come back and he's playing his pipe, and kicked him out of the village. So he come back, and surely enough, he took the children by playing his pipe, and he led the children into a cave and shut the cave door. And the moral of the story is, children will follow music even over the love of the parents. And that's the moral of the story. I truly believe music can change people's lives, and it can make people follow. I mean, look at the amount of kids who follow gangbangers just because they've just released a track about shooting people. You know, and if we can turn that around, we might be able to do some good in the world. So I've took the space, I'm going to bring it right back, Peter. I'm going to spin it around. So I've took space, and I've made this space, and I'm going to make it accessible for young people. I also use, I'm just in talks with a local swimming bath to do super duper baby swimming groups. And that's going to be sensory swimming for kids. So we're going to have some meditation music playing, lights, sensory balls in the pool, and for young kids to be able to enjoy with families. Rave-a-size, again, exercise, music, combining the two and making something special for people and families where they can use and they can work together. So anyone who's complaining on Facebook about Tommy Quick Talk, yeah, not reaching out to everybody, trust me, when I launch this project, everyone's going to get a piece of the pie. Yeah, so stop complaining. Do something about it.
So,
passion right there. Passion.
Thanks,
love it.
Yeah, nice one. So, you know, in terms of space and occupying space, Tom.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff at St. Malachy's, there's some principles around gathering in space, and one of them I think is around food. So there's a pizza oven there, isn't there, Tom? And
yeah, yeah, we've got there's an allotment, there's a pizza oven, there's all sorts of stuff that you know, focal points for bringing people together. But I mean, there is so much. There's so many unoccupied buildings, and use the word occupy. I mean, there's that big Occupy movement about freeing up all the empty buildings. There's so much land that is just on the books of big property companies and landowners, and it is not being used. And high streets, how many empty shops are there? How many empty properties are there? And I just think that there's got to be some kind of challenge put to the system, the bigger system, the property system, the lands. You know, I mean, Lee was talking before about you know, the government putting £50 million into this program, but I mean that's just small change. That's nothing kind of like really. We're such a wealthy country, you know. There's so much, but it's so unequal. There are people who individuals who own sort of you know, globally the kind of the you know, the top 1% of the population have got 40% of the resources or something ridiculous. I don't know, but I mean, it's just there's no equality. But years ago there was, and I'm going back, you know, like there used to be such a thing as common land that everybody had access to. And that got enclosed, and private individuals fenced it off and took it, and that really kind of dispossessed a lot of people, and you know, people ended up being forced to work, you know, to migrate to the towns and the cities, and leaving the country, and it's like these trends that you see it happening. It happened in England 200-300 years ago, but it's happening now in lots of other countries where the actual access to land is really quite limited, you know, and I think that I think it's just something really important that an organisation like Lancashire User Forum and Red Rose Recovery can actually ask some of these challenging questions in the system. You know, why can't we use this space? We're not going to trash it. We want to do something productive. We want to do something healthy. We want to do something that's going to benefit the community. And it's a way of kind of speaking truth to power, to say that again. So
there was an example of that, Tom, because what I'm finding a lot is there's people who there's a few different.
Okay. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example from just down the road in Manchester, and there's you know, like how every square foot of Manchester gets sort of like, you know, they're building flats on it, and private overseas investment coming in and what have you. And there was on a Great Ancoat Street, there was a big kind of shopping retail park with Toys R Us and on it, a big site worth millions. And there's a school just next door to the site, and the council wanted to turn it into a car park before they built flats on it. And there was a challenge. Some of the parents from the school says, we don't want sort of 350 cars a day parking up next to our school, polluting the atmosphere and you know, kind of ruining the air quality for the kids. And they put a challenge, and it went up through the High Court, and they won. And the council got kind of like told, you can't have a car park on there. And it's just like there are ways that you can, well, I use the word challenge constructively, and ask some of the questions. You know, actually be aware of what opportunities there are. There is so much wealth in this country, and yet there is so much poverty and inequality. And I do think it's partly, you know, we can't just be gratefully accepting £50 million or whatever the kind of, you know, Boris and his mates kind of decide is they've got a spare change, you know, to dish out to areas where they hope they'll vote Tory next time round. I mean, it's something that there are fundamental questions about inequality in our society, and the best way to challenge them is when you do it together. It's not just individuals doing it, you know, and I think the way you ask questions to the powers that be is also really, really important, and to do it constructively and to have, you know, and that's where, you know, Lancashire User Forum has always made really powerful and persuasive arguments to the, you know, people who hold the power in Lancashire, you know, the police, the county council, the health authorities, and it's been really beneficial. And I think that kind of approach is really important to opening up and sharing the wealth that we've got. I'm feeling very kind of political right now, Peter.
Well, no, it's really interesting because we've been around this revolution before, and we've done a lot of good. But I think what's happened is, as we've developed the charity, I mean, we talked about it with Lee Harrington, the charity tended to change from having a focus to support the Lancashire User Forum to supporting itself as a charity, and we've grown. But I think what I'm hearing from you is the focus is now going to change to supporting the Lancashire User Forum to effectively speak truth to power. And how we can do that is if we stand shoulder to shoulder, if we unite, if we start to collaborate more, and you know, that's what we need to do. But I think where we hit a brick wall, Tom, is that there's lots of guys out there who've got time on their hands and they're saying, Pete, I want to get stuck into something. Yeah. Some of them, they want to get stuck into producing something, you know, they want to attach hands and feet, put me in a space, Pete, where I can saw, put the radio where I can plant, I can dig, I can build, I can you know, engineer.
It's all space, Pete. It all boils down to having the space to do stuff, doesn't it? And not being stuck in, you know, in four walls, not being, you know, we need to have space to be ourselves, not just internal space, head space, where, you know, it's about outside space, and it's other people, kind of like how we connect with other people.
Tom, how are we gonna, because I know, looking back, one of the things you did for me and many others was open up space to be able to speak truth to power. So the roles within the Lancashire User Forum, not Red Rose Recovery, Lancashire User Forum, the roles what people had were the responsibility for those roles meant that you would have to go and report into some senior decision-making boards, and that's where we started to build relationships and influence strategically. But it feels a little bit like Lancashire User Forum hasn't got the same kind of access to that space to be able to speak truth to power.
And that's what we've got to work on, isn't it? But you see, Lancashire User Forum is, if you like, it's a social movement. and some of the most amazing social movements in history. You know, you start small. The cooperative movement started in Rochdale with half a dozen people who said we're fed up of being ripped off. We'll combine our resources and we'll get better. We'll get a better deal, and we'll share the profits amongst ourselves. And cooperativism was formed. And there's all kinds of, there's so many different ways of raising the commonwealth, the common good, and not just about individuals kind of exploiting each other to become, you know, there's people who've got far too much money than they'll ever know what to do with. What on earth is Jeff Bezos going to do with 180 billion pounds or dollars or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It's like we have to get some redistribution of wealth in the system, if the kind of like the model is to have commonwealth, then I think it's a lot more persuasive, because you're creating something that's accessible, and it really appeals to health and the other authorities, because what we're saying is we'll create healthy spaces. We'll be doing stuff that's going to improve people's well-being, and it's going to cost less in the hospital system. It's going to cost less in the criminal justice system, because we're creating space for people to fulfill themselves, to find themselves, and not be, you know, not just be seen as the problem. It's what you know about, you old buzzard, or is it?
Yeah.
You coming?
Looking for your carrier.
Thank you. Thanks for
Anyway.
that.
Old
Lindsay, before we go
Peter.
into like puzzle productions, because I want you to tell us a bit about it, and before you go into the comments, because I know loads of guys are like watching. Can we just have some of Willie's wisdom, please?
Go for it, Willie. You're on mute, Willie.
Come on, Willie, you're on mute. We can't hear you. Right, you're on mute, and you've also jammed. So, there you are.
Right. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Everything that you are is enough. Even though you're a warrior, you are also a warrior. You must do the things you like, you cannot do. Just because you think you're worthless doesn't make it true. There you go.
Oh, that
absolutely doesn't mean it's true.
Beautiful.
More of Willie's wisdom for another Saturday night.
Thanks, Willie.
From the man himself. And when you said stars, you had all them lovely stars just showing on your face. Beautiful.
Oh.
Beautiful. Jonathan Chapman has given us a right compliment tonight. Thank you, Jonathan Chapman. This is the best LUF Lounge I've ever watched. Very educational. Thank you, Jonathan Chapman.
Hi, Jonathan.
Gemma Hughes, Andy Pratt's watching, Barbara English. We are the best at connecting because we understand and we want to help. We are never told you must. We are never told you must help. We automatically want to help or recover. I know, wouldn't it be lovely if you could just wave a wand? Yeah, Glen Island systems can't be changed with one person. It needs a movement of people.
He's right, yeah.
Yeah. Jill Whitehead, I know what you mean. That would be because it would help people that would help other people. That would be amazing. Diane Seville, there's a compliment. Tom Woodcock for next Prime Minister.
Oh, no, don't start him off, please.
Oh, you've got a really big fan there. That's 3 comments she's put about you there. And I've had quite a few things about the double-decker bus saying it's a good idea, Peter Yarwood. So I think that's...
Well, we have
Definitely.
got we had a, Tom, do you remember the African proverb? If you want to go, can you remember it?
Oh, I could, yeah, of course I can, yeah.
What is it then?
If you want to go fast, go alone.
That's the one.
But if you want to go far, you go together.
That's
and
the
it's
one.
that sense of you know, community is so much stronger than the individual, you know, and I totally believe that. And there's a lot of things that separate us, and we're always looking, and you know, we have more in common as people than we do than differences, and we've got to focus on what we've got in common, what our shared interests are.
Yeah.
And we've got to challenge this culture that is about the individual.
Yeah. Well, Tony Husband did us a cartoon for for that African proverb, and it's got a picture of a guy in a speed car with his hair blown
Looks
back.
a bit like you, Pete. Yeah.
Well, he looks more like me, he does, yeah, than you, because he's got his hair blown back,
Yeah.
Tom. The hair waves are like
Yeah,
back.
mentioned the hair again.
Yeah, but he don't. But then underneath it, there's a picture of the LUF bus, and it's got all wonderful, different, like funky people hanging out of the bus, and I think it's a really good. It's one of my favourite cartoons because it is about going together, and I think how we do that, we need to really think about it, because we've got the Lancashire User Forum, and Tom, nobody owns that, do they?
No.
It's, you know, we've got people who have got positions, roles and responsibilities, but they're there to support. You know, they're not there to own it. It belongs to us as a community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, before we play I'm just conscious because Tommy, you've talked to us a little bit about you've already talked, haven't you, around what you're doing. You've told us about it.
Yeah, a little bit, mate. So yeah, it's all right to just speak freely.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, so Q Club was, it's not something that's kind of brand new. It was it kind of arrived in I'm from Stockport personally. It arrived in Stockport kind of by accident, really.
Have you got a brother?
I have got a brother, Peter.
Yeah.
I have got a brother.
Does he look like you?
Are you asking, have I got a twin brother, Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I knew it was. Do you know, and he's involved with roles. Does he do some stuff with roles?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't personally know. So I set up Quick Talk CIC about 6 years ago. And that worked primarily with disadvantaged young adults. So it was using music again as a tool to engage. They come into a music studio, do some work around the kind of behaviours or emotions or challenging. You know, it could have been anything. We was running projects around anything, and then we was getting them onto Pi Radio, kind of similar to what Ben's doing. Funnily enough, what Ben's doing now. So Ben's obviously got a new platform with Shinny and doing what he's doing. He's reaching out to many people. So yeah, Ben does really well in the recovery sector in that area. And Q Club was a fundraiser for Quick Talk CIC. And I was living in Bredbury at the time, and my daughter was going to school in that area, and she was kind of struggling in school, and I felt like it was my fault because of my past, my using, my going into. I ended up in prison, and she was struggling, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to set some events up, and there'll be some fundraisers. We'll call them Q Club, and we'll get the kids involved, and you know, and they were so popular that I kind of had to sort of sit back and go, right, these need to be looked at because it needs to be controlled. And that's how Q Club was started. I started working for other organisations and then putting more structure in place. And you talked about kind of the infrastructure, which is something that, you know, I've got some great ideas, but we need support with the infrastructure, with exactly what are we going to be. Is it going to be a charity, a CIC? At the moment, we're a community group. So, you know, it only holds a certain amount of weight. But yeah, so Q Club, this is its kind of third model, so to speak, sort of the advanced version of what we was back when Quick Talk CIC was set up, and it's come a long way. We pull in, like, I think he's gone now. Your friend who was on before. We pull in other organisations to help support us. Red Rose Recovery have got wind through Scott. I want to big up Scott. Absolutely amazing guy. Massive inspiration to me as well. You know,
we've got a few Scots.
Sorry?
We've got a few Scots.
You've got a few Scots. Scott Parker.
Oh,
he knows who
one
he is.
Scott
He knows
Parker.
who he is.
It was bigging you up earlier on, Thomas.
Sorry? Yeah.
It was bigging you up earlier on, Scott Parker.
Yeah, you know, we're becoming good. We're becoming really good friends. He's just found out about Q Club and sort of jumped on me and said, "What is it? What are you doing? I'm really interested." And he was at the first volunteers meeting yesterday. You know, we had around 15 volunteers there. We ended up with politicians in the building. Scott was representing Red Rose. We had other organisations in there. And, you know, we've kind of not even really started on promo or marketing yet, but we are doing really, really well. And I think we've hit it at just about the right time where people care, you know, with what's gone on with the COVID crisis and the lack of support people have had through mental health issues, especially the parents. And, you know, that waters down and filters down through to the children, unfortunately. And we're kind of left with the research that I've done through the YJS, their numbers, their predictions of children going into custody and first time crime, committing crime for the first time, and also asking the public what they think. I've done a lot of research via the media, and by the sounds of things, we've got a load of fellow kids out there kind of running riot. They don't know what to do. They've been locked up for a year. Because let's get it right, 23-hour bang up we've been in. Sorry.
Listen, I'm just conscious. There's loads of opportunities going to come, and we've got the connection. You've got my number. You've got Scott, and like, yeah. I want you to stick around to watch the next part of the show because it can give us some ideas and yeah. You know, what the guys have done is they've said, we want to take our life experience and some real raw issues and we want to act it out. You know, once upon a time, you'd watch that on Coronation Street. Now the guys are saying, we don't need ITV. We've got our very own means at our disposal. And, you know, I think the way they write the script, the way they deliver the script, the way they pull it and edit it together, it's all done by skills in-house. We don't have to ship any of it in. I think it's phenomenal. And this is our second season and 6th episode on season 2. And it's around domestic violence, isn't it, Lindsay?
Yeah. And all of the episodes are on YouTube. If you missed season 1, series 1, all on YouTube. If you do want to play catch up, if you've missed any series 1 or the beginning of series 2, they're all on YouTube. If you do look for them on YouTube, please like and subscribe. But it's basically a drama group which we set up. We come up with puzzled because we were sort of broken like a jigsaw puzzle and we're piecing it back together. We came up with puzzle productions. So Monday morning, it was 11. Now it's sort of somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. We come in. We basically wing it every week, to be honest, Peter. We don't have a particular script. We have an idea.
I can think of a better way of of describing winging it. I would say it's much more free and fluid in the delivery.
What I mean is, we started off where we'd sort of have a script, and we found that it was it didn't sort of flow when we were reading it. It sounded read. So basically, we say, this is the idea. We go off, we film, we have a spare phone if we pretend we're on the phone, and we just film each other, and we very rarely, we just send it. We film what we think's right. We send it in the order that we want it in. Right, you film that, you reply to that message, we send it, and it just seems to work. So,
I think it's called improv, isn't it? Improv.
Pardon?
It is, yeah.
Improv.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just, yeah, we just go with it. So look out for the saucy minx who's trying to lure Peter Abbott into that. That's me.
Oh, here's the thing. It's a good example of occupying a space. Now you've got a clear mission and vision, and it's brilliant. But I think I want to, because we're coming to the end of it now. We'll play the show and we'll say our goodbyes before we play the show. But I think there's something about the space program where we want to include other people in what that should look like. So I would just say, watch this space. Tom, have you got any more things to add to that?
Let it roll, Pete. I mean, see what happens.
Okay. Willie, let's have one word of wisdom before we play the puzzle productions.
You must do the things you think you cannot do.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
You must do the things you think you cannot do.
Yeah.
And let us know how that works out for you.
And if anybody wants to join in Puzzles Productions on a Monday morning, they're quite welcome. There's no particular, we don't have to stick to those people. We just find parts. If you want to come in and have a go, there's new people coming in every week. Say, I wouldn't mind a go at that. And we'll just say, yeah, we'll find a part. We'll just put it in. So we basically follow the script depending on who turns up. That's how it works.
Brilliant. And before we hit play, because this is also recorded live, Tommy, do you want to give us a flavour of your skills before we say goodbye?
You want one more?
Yeah.
Addict's alphabet.
Give us a taste.
So we all know the alphabet, don't we? So, all right. I'm an addict, an anomaly, abnormally at it. Absorbing auras, equating, actually acting not automatic, breaking barriers, berserk, becoming blamingly barbaric, battering bay, I'm not baffling, blizzards, baseball, beat, bat it, creating catalyst of copious cannabis, catching chronic, compensating cries, consciously, constantly chaotic, destroying dance demons, domains, death, demonic, dealing deep, diligently dosed up, duke, dystroponic. Everybody's enveloping ecstasy, energy, erotically, emotions exploding extra intensively, emphatically, frantically finding forgotten faces of the family, faking, fabricated forces, faintly forged factories, gambling giants, grabbing to get a God's glory, gaining gallons of ghouls, gold of the greatest gig geography, hydraulic, hydroponics, higher hertz, hypothetically, hello, high hyenas, heliocentrical hypotheses, indigo inuits, inside igloos, incomprehensible, improbably impossible, immortal intellectuals, Jesus is javelin, Jehoshaphat and Jezebel, juggling judges, jam, just Jack in jail cell. Kaleidoscopes, killers, kingpins and kidnappers, kidnapped Korean kings, kingdoms kept keeping calm. Leaping lions, leaders, lotions and left, liquidating liquid lakes, lagoons to leave later, listen. Manifesting methodomics, multi-dimensional mathematical motions of man's machine made mechanical. No, never narcotics, narco-narcissism nameable. Negatively notions nailed, negatively neutral. Occasionally opus days, octopus, over of oceans of oracles on it till October. Peter party pills and police patrolling player, passive product to the potion, push the people to the player. Queens quote questions of quality over quantity. Quaintly quit quickly and quarter of quitting quietly. Robots riddles ribble the rebellion of the rivalry return ready. Rampant reinforcement raised rapidly. Smack smoking smugglers struggling strokes upon the stratosphere. Steam spice space smoke shouts to the seventh sphere. 10-ton tentacles to Mazapan, take a tear, tenacious tight tobacco tooting tramadol from Tupperware. Under the umbrella, ultimately unobtainable. Use up UFOs, unfortunately unbelievable. Then Venus's venue, very voluptuous and viable voices, violent videos for Halloween, the virtual, where what Willy Wonka wondering whether we weather wait, well, whatever the white was we, Wacky Wild Wetter, Xena Zen, X-Men, X-Rated Xena, X-Rated Xenomorph, Xanax and the Xavier. Yesterday, you, yeah, yellows, yabba, yabba, dabba, yep, yo, yuppies, you know your chat, yatta, yatta. Zucchini, Zoot, Zulu, Zilu, Zoot, Zebras, Zigzag, Zodiac, and Zigger on the Zigger Zagger. I'm an addict, an anomaly, abnormally yatty, absorbing overs, equating, actually yatting, not automatic, breaking barriers, berserk, becoming blamingly barbaric, batter the behemoth, baffling blizzards, baseball, beat, bat it.
Well, well on you, mate. So, just for those of you who was observing next week's competition, you have to find out which letter Tommy purposefully missed out of the alphabet.
Which one? I didn't. Liar. No, I did. I did, Peter. Yeah, you're right. You've got to go back and find out which letter. I see what you're doing, Peter.
Okay, right. Listen, guys. I love you. I've really enjoyed spending time in this space with you tonight. You can stay tuned in, but we're gonna shoot off and we're gonna play this on the live LUF Lounge. So, Lindsay, you've been awesome.
Thank you.
Say goodbye to everyone.
It's been a while, hasn't it? You must have missed me though. You have missed me.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to dare say no. I know that much for certain.
Well, you're good at it, and this is, you know, I think you're committed, you're consistent, and I could go on all day with the C's, but
yeah, Lindsay.
Willie,
Good to see you, Lindsay.
Love you, Willie.
we love you. So,
take care, guys.
Share my screen now, and hopefully there won't be any mistakes on this one. There might be.
Look out for the temptress in the green top.
I'm going to have to take off, but I'll catch this video later. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Thank you,
God bless
Thomas.
You all. Thank you very much for
And
your
everybody
time.
else.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for
See you later,
inviting me.
guys.
Cheers.
See you later. Right. See you later, Tom. See you later, Willie. See you later, guys. Puzzle Productions.
In a recap from the last episode, Sally attacked Daz. Is Daz okay?
Sally, what you doing, Sally? Calm down, will you, Sally, man? Oh, man, I'm out of here. You get me now, that's it, I'm out of here. What the hell, was I? Oh, fucking hell. Oh, my God, my head. Oh, man, bleeding. What's going on? What am I going to do? It's fucking crazy, man. I'm ringing her mum. Hiya, Mary. Yeah, it's Daz, love. I don't know. Yeah, I'm bleeding. Sally's just gone for me, love. She's just smacked me. I've just come home there. God, I'm shaking, man. What do you mean, what have I done to provoke her? I haven't done anything. What do you mean the guy next door said that I've been knocking her about? It's the other way around, this. It's her that's been doing my head in recently. She's the one that's been getting on at me. Been torturing me mentally. She's calling me all kinds of stuff, and now she's done this. Do you know what I mean? What am I gonna do, man? She's just hit me. You know, if this was me doing it to her, the class is fucking domestic violence, mate. Don't know what to do. I'm gonna see him next door anyway. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Mary, love. Bye.
Hi, Lars. What the hell is going on with you, Tim? You must have said something to her to kick her off like that. She's not bloody violent. Oh, come on. The fella next door said that you were beating her up. Well, one of you is lying. Where is she now? Is she all right? I need to speak to her. Oh my God. This is just bloody crazy. No, I need to speak to her. I'll ring you back. I tell you what, I'll find out which one of you is lying. You won't know what trouble is then. Right, I'm going. Okay, tra, Daz, tra.
Daz goes to confront his neighbour.
As if his next door said that I've been hitting Sally. What's that all about? I'm gonna have a word with him, mate. I'm telling you, I'm not happy about this. Oi! You! Are you in there? Oi! It's Daz from next door. You better get down here now, lad. What's this I hear you've been saying I've been knocking misses about? I get it now. Got a lot to say when I'm not about, but as soon as I'm around trying to confront you about it, you're hiding. Are you in there or what, you soft git? Do you hear what was going on before? Come and have a look at my face now and you'll see who's getting knocked about, you dickhead.
Daz gets a phone call from a work colleague.
Hiya, Daz. Yeah, it's just Sammy. Yeah, how you doing? I know, I just thought I'd give you a ring, see how you were, what you were up to. Not a lot, that's why I'm ringing you, actually. No, just chilling. I'm chilling, and I'm just chilling a bottle of wine, actually. I just don't know if you weren't up to much. Just wondered if you wanted to pop round. Yeah. You sure you're all right? Oh, you just sound a bit wound up, that's all. You sure? You know where I live, don't you? Yeah. What time? Yeah. I'll see you soon then. Yeah. Okay. Bye, love.
Oh. Sammy? Are you? No, love, no, I'm not alright. I'm a bit stressed, to be fair. Yeah, I am stressed out. I'm getting loads of stuff going on at home. It's just been a bit of a nightmare, to be fair. What are you up to? Alright. Chilling with some wine, and that's chilling as well. Do you want to come round? Do you know what? Yeah, actually, I will. Yeah, I'm sick of it here. It's doing my head in. Yeah, well, I'll explain to you when I get round if you want. No, I've just not had a good day. Me and Sally are not getting on, love. Yeah, she's just given me a crack, to be fair. Cut my head a bit, just cleaned it up. Neighbour's been accusing me of beating her up and that, so it's not going well at all, to be fair. Yeah, no worries. Of course I know where you live. Yeah. See you soon. Bye now.
Daz goes to visit Sammy.
Oh hi, how you doing? My name's Darren Wetlegs. I found your card on my doorstep. You must have posted it through the other day. I believe you're from a domestic violence team. Yeah. I don't really know how to say this, but I think I'm being assaulted by my partner. She's hit me. I feel a bit weird talking about it because, you know, men don't really talk about things like this, but it's just been getting really on me recently, you know. She's been mentally abusing me and that, and this morning when I got up, you know, when I got in, from work, you know, she went at me, like, she threw a glass at me and it hit me in the face. She was really up in my face, swearing at me, and like she hit me again. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know what to do now, you know. I'm a bit emotional, to be fair. Where am I now? I'm just going to see a friend. She just invited me round. Yeah, I just need to get away, to be fair. getting to me a bit. I'd love it if you'd book an appointment. Yeah, I mean, I need to talk to someone about this because, you know, it's quite upsetting, to be honest with you. Yeah. All right, well, thanks very much for your time. Yeah, and thanks for taking the call. I feel a bit better now. I've actually told someone what's going on. Thank you. I think she lives around here. That's it, this one here. Oh no, it's not. Oh shit, my phone. Oh gosh, I shouldn't do that. Put that back there. Right. Oh, there's a car there. Right, that's a wine and chill out for a bit, isn't it? Oh. Yeah, are you? Just outside now. Yeah, I'm just getting here. All right, see you in a sec.
Hello. All right. Oh yeah, you're keen. All right. Okay. I'll be a sec. Come in.
Daz arrives at Sammy's house. Tune in next week, guys, to see what happens.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining the Red Rose Recovery Group today. For everyone that's struggling and not wanting to take part, say face by face, then please try to do so because it's very, very helpful. I found it very helpful so far. So please, you know, keep engaging, keep in contact. Even if you want to keep in the background, that's fine. But try and encourage yourself to, you know, show your face. That'd be great because, you know, I found it very helpful so far. If you need a message from the team, then all you need to do is contact www.redroserecovery.org.uk and you can leave a message there and, you know, a member of the team who are really helpful will get back to you as soon as they possibly can. And you'll find it really helpful, as I have, and I'm still doing so. So keep going, keep engaging, keep communicating, and keep, you know, in contact. Thank you.
Oh, that was brilliant, that, wasn't it?
Watch this space. You've got to watch now and see what happens to Peter.
Tune in next week, guys.
Tune in next week. See what Daz does the dirty on his missus. We'll see.
Great night. All right. Well, that's it from me. Good night and God bless.
Over and out.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Night all.